Hello, welcome to Soccer Yanks, a Soccer News Day podcast. I'm your co-host, Dave.
And I am your other co-host, Dan, and tonight we are going to do our very best to try to bring you the beautiful game from the American perspective. What a transfer window, Dave.
It's done.
It's over.
No more crazy pills!
For like a month. A month, and then all the speculation starts again.
Every night I would sing myself, quit playing games with my heart.
With my heart. That's my high school jam. The transfer window, I think, brings out the worst in the internet. Probably the internet. The people that love soccer and are on the internet.
And soccer article writers.
Well,
not all of them. I mean, the Soccer Yanks.
They're feeding the
family
beast.
Are the best.
Well, check our site for all that transfer bull nonsense. There's not a
I
lot of
wouldn't
it.
call it bull. I would call it well-studied content. But there are a lot of fish and chip paper makers out there.
They're feeding the beast.
Yeah.
They're feeding the nonsense. They're feeding the frenzy. They're adding coal to the fire. Just pick your analogy. And that's what they're doing. But I think the 24/7 coverage towards the end intensifies it. There's a lot of sex toys now. This is new for me.
It was great.
This is new for me. I don't know.
Sky Sports stream.
I don't know how.
It's bound to happen.
I don't know how to feel about that. And there's a lot of there's a very raunchy catchphrase that people scream, and I think it was started by I forget which personality. I don't know if it was Howard Stern. I think it was Howard Stern.
Oh, FHRIATP?
F her right in the P.
No, it was just a random guy who got picked up by Opie and Anthony, I think.
It was O&A? Was it O&A? I don't know. But
he was just run on the live broadcast. I don't know. I can't give an opinion right now of what I feel about it.
There were some sex dolls. I mean, this is just nonsense. But no, the real nonsense, right? The real bone I have to pick here is how completely unreasonable and maniacally hysterical people get. And they I don't know how there's so many people that have the gall to believe that they understand the intricacies of a multi-million-dollar negotiation. So many people think, oh, they waited till the last minute. Let me ask you, genius, are you the only person in the world that knows that Arsenal needs a defensive midfielder? I mean, are you holding this top secret thing? Maybe you should pick up the red phone and call Arsene Wenger. Maybe he hasn't noticed. Oh no, he just doesn't like to spend money. No, they tried. I'm sure they tried. And you don't know that. You're not the fly in that room. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the teams that are holding out for more money till the last minute. You don't know any of the details. You don't know any of the financial restrictions. You know nothing.
They have nor the vision or what the plan is for the next.
Or know the plan. So for anyone to realistically grade a transfer window based on who wasn't signed and make these grandiose assumptions of they just didn't want to do this, or they had all this money and all this time. And this could be said for a lot of teams. This could be said for not just, my particular case in Arsenal, where some of the fan base is just so divided over spending money.
You have your Piers Morgans and...
Well, Piers Morgan, this is when things are crazy. Piers Morgan actually said we had a good window. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about...
It's been terrible.
But that's what I'm saying. When Piers Morgan is this voice of reason, you know the internet has gone fucking batshit. So that's
Speaking of fish and chip papers.
I mean, that's just... Yeah, that guy. I mean, to me, I just find it ludicrous that people behind the keyboard think that they are the only people in the world that have any... They're like, well, how could they not have done that? I'm a genius. And, no, you're a layman. And everyone...
Could they not have signed Messi?
Right. They passed on Falcone. Yeah, no, they passed on £350,000 a week. That's what they passed on, or whatever it ended up being. That's not the point. The point is, we don't even know that. That's not even... Nobody knows that. And then I had someone tell me on Twitter, well, we go by the word of respected journos. I'm like, oh, okay. You know that
there was such a thing.
You know that's their thing is like to be the talking pieces for the people that are behind the doors, so they tell them what they want to tell them. So then you, dumbass, think that you are being fed the whole truth and nothing but. I mean, like, it just drives me a little nuts. So I kind of just sit back. Okay, I would have liked things to be differently, but I don't know the details.
I couldn't wait for it to be over.
I just, I really wish to be a fly on the wall. That's because, like, I have a business background. Like, I really would like to see how the nitty gritty, how it gets ironed out. How is it really dirty? A lot of dirty, like, calling the journalist and like leaking info and doing this, or is it a little bit more straight shooting? Or it could be maybe a mix, both. I don't know. That's what I'm so curious to how it actually works. But I'm not passing judgment on anybody.
No, it's going to happen everywhere. Every supporters group's got a
batshit crazy wing. Yeah,
we'll call them super ultras.
I don't like the word ultra.
A vocal minority.
I've become recently against using the term ultra or associating with ultra because I find I associate it too much with violence now.
Fair enough.
That's just my point. That's my soapbox thing, and I'm off of it now. All right.
So going into the games.
Let's get into the football.
Stoke win over City. Whew. What a run.
Who's your boy? The guy that you like saying his last name?
Which one?
The Frenchman? I think he's French. No, he's not French. Diouf.
Well, Diouf. That was an incredible end-to-end run.
He shrugged off. I think it was Kolarov. He shrugged him off. Like,
who are you?
Right? Who are you? Then Company came at him.
Meg.
He not only did he get the ball past him with ease, then he put it into second gear, and he just blew by him. Then Hart, 1-on-1, he's not making it really hard. Shoots it right through his legs, or at least if not through his legs, really close to the ground, pretty low, below. It goes below Hart. Wow. But it's one of those matches. This is one of those matches that 72% possession for City. They had the bulk of possession. They lacked, quote unquote, the creative spark.
Cold Wednesday in Stoke.
It was in Etihad though.
Yeah, no.
It was the first win they had there in seven attempts, 7 matches.
Records breaking in Manchester left and right still.
Now, still, yes. I mean, listen, credit here has to go. Begovic had a great game. Saved their ass. But still played a very, this is one of those things where, do you credit Stoke for being tactical? Or is it, and then you say, in that same concept, you say, Manchester City wasn't good enough to break down the tactical Stoke. Or you say, hold on, time out. I'm calling bullshit. Stoke was playing like super counterattack soccer. Their backline played real deep. It was almost like playing.
Well, that was their game plan.
Right, I understand.
They had to choke them out and.
But is it
hope something snuck through.
This can always be spun one way or the other. Was it a valiant performance by Stoke, or was it a underperformance by City?
It can go either way.
Depends on your point of view, right? Depends if you're an orc or not.
Red or blue.
Now, my real question is Mark Hughes Stoke better than Tony Pulis Stoke?
I think it's too early to tell.
I think it is. Yes, I agree. It is very early still.
He hasn't spent all that money yet.
Hughes does have a hole in his pocket.
Open?
He does have a hole in the pocket. No, but I think Hughes is gone away from.
What would he do with the Manchester United budget?
Hookers and coke.
I could just see him like Tony Montana in the boardroom.
He'd buy a tiger.
On the back, down the tunnel.
Jeez. No, I think Hughes, though, he's gone away from the gargantuan hoof. I mean, they are playing counterattack football, but it's a little bit less of the I need a guy like Peter Crouch, or an Andy Carroll. I want somebody. I'm going to do counterattacking, but I'm going to mold it a little bit more with a strong, pacey guy. that's going to be able to, he's not going to hold the ball up and pray for my midfield to come in. He's going to just try to take it on. I think it's different. It's a little different. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think Stoke, if they keep playing like this, they're going to happily be 10th,
They'll be mid. Healthy mid. All right. Heart Attack City. Probably the most entertaining game of the season so far. The Everton-Chelsea game.
The tennis score.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was like, those games you ever play online in FIFA where you score and then immediately the other guy scores immediately?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It was like scripting.
It was a bit of that. It
was incredible. I felt bad for Everton fans.
Well, Chelsea's goals came in waves. They scored
incredible.
2 in 3 minutes, I think.
It was nuts.
The first goal that Cesc Fabregas threaded into Costa was nasty.
And Costa going up and talking smack to...
this was after, I think, the third goal.
Oh, that was...
Coleman, I think he was talking smack to. And he didn't score the goal either. It was Hazard that scored that goal.
And then Howard got in his face and then started bulldogging. I'm surprised he didn't get a card right in front of the ref.
Well, there was another instance, I think, too, that it was a crazy match.
Yeah.
The second, unfortunately for Everton, the second goal, Ivanovic was offside. Unfortunate for them because that happens to everybody. But in a game where it's a shootout, that goal, you would wish that goal would come back.
The momentum, yeah.
I gotta say though, Everton's goals. The two headers, Morales' header and Eto's header. He curved a header. Right? It was curved. It was a curved header.
He was on a mission. When he came on, he was on fire. He wanted to prove something.
Of course. Old man. He's like, I am not 49. I am 42.
Did you ever see bench warmers when the birth certificate in crayon comes out? I am 12. Yes, that's what he showed the FA.
Yes, and he's drinking whiskey in the bushes. Yes. It was
fantastic for a neutral. Great game.
Great game. I gotta say though that the goals, the score got up a little bit higher, but both defenses kind of fell asleep a little bit. Everton let Chelsea, take that commanding lead on them because they kind of fell asleep on the counters.
It opened up a lot.
But the Naismith goal was a beautiful goal by him. He finished beautifully, but he was running at their line, and it's like they don't even know he's there. He's like Casper. He just magically appeared. No, he was there the whole time.
He was very physical too. He's promising attacking midfielder in the EPL so far.
I think he scored 3 or 2 out of 2 and 3 or something like that. He's been
Scottish power.
He's been nailing them.
In alternate Scottish news, not to go off on a tangent, Ryan Gold got his call up to Sporting in the Champions League next match.
Very nice.
Sorry. He's the only up-and-coming promising Scottish soccer player.
I'm sure there's others.
His honest comparisons, everyone's calling him very Kaká-like.
Okay, I want to see it.
He looks like a Q-tip.
That's a big mantle.
It's better than Messi. That was what they were calling him when he was 16.
Oh,
I hate it when that happens.
You gotta imagine now if you're like a young kid and they call you the Messi of or the Brazilian Messi or whatever,
the German Messi.
That's got to be almost like no, I am I'm this guy.
He's not even that style. The way he plays he's just
it's a lot of fuck.
He's physical, but he's got flair. He plays with it's not a glue ball to his foot. It's a flicks and it's fun. Anyway, moving on. Man, you just can't get into that gear from. They still got that side to side pass thing going on and the lob crosses.
They're struggling. It's a combination.
A lot of people are still injured.
Nine first team injuries. Welcome to the motherfucking club, bro. It sucks, and you have no control over it. It's just
got to go with the flow.
It's what it is. What it is. Injuries are a big issue.
I'm glad I have you here to go through it with me.
Well, I've been there.
Coping skills. Yeah, you're giving me a lot of coping skills.
There's 12 steps. I'll show you all of them.
I hope I get to them by Christmas.
We'll have to check the injury league after the podcast, see where you guys stand.
A lot of people
Injuries aside, are you happy with the way Van Gaal is deploying this team?
Yes.
You like the 3-5-2?
I like where they are. I think as we stand right now, without those transfers that had come in, with all the injuries we have, I think that's the system that he said he was going to use going into. I think he wanted to implement 3-5-2 in the beginning because, one, he got to see the best of the attack, of what they could do, and he got to see the versatility of all of his defenders. He got to see who could actually do what in the preseason. He got to see who could track back, who could defend, who could hold, who could do what, and he had a chance to put his offensive players in their positions that suits them the best.
So what you're saying, he took a very Klinsmann approach and said, I just put a formation out there that puts the 11 best players that I have on the field. Or at least allows me to see 3 center backs and 2 strikers every match, and that's what I'm evaluating because I have plenty of midfielders that I feel fine with.
Exactly. And
you think ultimately 4-3-3 is where it's going?
I think it was a litmus test.
Okay. I can live with that. I don't know. He's been notorious for being stubborn. So I don't, everyone says, oh no, he's a 4-3-3 guy. He's a 4-3-3 guy. That's ultimately where.
There's so many strikers now. I don't think he could do a 4-3-3. He could switch and shift sides with the players that he has, but I think he has to start 2 strikers now. Well, if they're all healthy.
Right.
But who knows what role he's going to put Rooney in. He has to put Di Maria in a free role. He has to play him wherever he wants. He's that kind of player now.
I disagree.
Did you see what he did today?
Okay, yeah, it was a friendly. Listen. How many times have we banked on a friendly? Friendlies don't mean anything.
It's a showcase.
But Argentina had something to prove, and Germany had nothing to prove today. Okay, let's face that. That's a friendly. Di Maria is much better out wide. He's going to be better out wide. I think if you put him in the middle of the park, you get. Unfortunately, I think if you put him in the middle of the park, you give him too much freedom, and I think he's going to go lost. Personally.
I don't think I say give him a free role. I don't think he would gravitate in the middle. I think he would stick to the wings because that's where he is more comfortable. And if anything, I think he would do the same thing, him playing with Januzaj and having him flip-flop with each other. Because that would be the only way that he could do that.
It's the only way that Januzaj is going to get on the field.
And I think he wants to play Januzaj because he wants to give... Well, I think he should play Januzaj. He's proven himself last year. He was the only shining light in the whole season.
Let's talk about the other signings. Let's go in...
Oh, yeah.
Let's go in order of... we already talked to Di Maria. So he's off the list that when you talk. Let's talk about least impact to most impact. Rojo, in my opinion, probably have the least impact of the other guys that we haven't talked about yet. What do you think?
I think he had. I don't think I know enough about him to give a valid rating on him.
I find it odd. I mean, okay, United are definitely suffering in the center back. I would say across the back.
He signed a 16-year-old Dutch defender.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
We signed his center back, though.
Rojo, from what I understand, Rojo can play center back, but his preferred position is left back. And I could be wrong here, but that's what I've come to understand. And that he's preferred.
That's what I've read, too. The same thing. And that's what they just signed Shaw for.
Yes. So I'm a little confused.
But Shaw doesn't have a backup.
Wait. Okay, that's fine. So you have two good guys competing for a spot. That's fine.
And I think he likes competition. But there's only
one
one league.
Who's playing left back now?
Nobody.
Oh, they're playing 3 centers. Duh. Of course.
But there's only one thing they're playing for now, the league. That's the thing. They have a glut of all these players.
There's an FA Cup still.
True.
Guys can do the double. Got nothing to worry about. Sorry.
No,
that was involuntary.
I think, honestly, the Capital One Cup, although I know afterwards it's easy to say this, I don't think it was a priority for him. I don't think the fake treble was something he was going for. I don't think he wanted the distraction. And he wanted to play those players most of them are gone. 6 or 7 of that starting 11 are gone now.
Cleverly played in that game, didn't he?
He did. Anderson, Chicharito, Kagawa.
I have a question.
I lost.
I do have a question for you.
Nani?
Where's all the creativity going to be for this United team? It's all in Dortmund now. I've always been very upset with Manchester United's handling of Kagawa.
Misused completely.
100%. Never given an opportunity to do what he could do.
I think he was strictly a marketing tool. Sadly enough.
There's another player we'll talk about that never got a chance to do what he really wanted to do either.
Who?
Danny Welbeck. And because of the people in front of him.
I agree with you 100%.
But we'll get there.
I think the biggest impact will be Blind. Because I remember
that's what I was going to ask you. So then, all right, if you think he's the most impact, let's talk about Falcone then. Do you think this is a smart move? It's a loan with an option to buy it, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Monaco's not going to pay half his wages once he becomes a United player. Now, do you think he's going to become eventually a full? They're going to sign him, or this is really a one and done?
I think it's a one and done.
One and done situation.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep him for this whole season and sign whoever the biggest striker is on the market next season. I don't think they're going to keep him unless if he stays healthy. Though
you're going to squeeze all those $100 bills in your diamond wallet while you're wearing your golden shoes.
No, they're going to get. I think they're going to get their center back. So they want. I think they'll go after Hummels again.
There's a lot of throwing money at the problem. Is that really the solution?
In the modern football, yeah.
So you agree Manchester United is part of modern football now?
I think they started it.
No, because
it's not oil money, but it still
depends
a massive
it depends on who you ask, because everyone, and you've waved this flag too. We give youth a chance. We have academies. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be that way now.
Class in '92 has been something that's been held on to for 25 years. I don't think there's
good thing we're recording. Did you say that again? One more. Say it a little louder.
No, seriously.
But it is. It has been something you guys have been holding on to.
Fletcher,
the youth movement is kind of dead.
I mean, think about all the Ruud van Nistelrooy, Cristiano Ronaldo. He came in from Sporting. He started right away. Rooney from Everton. Carrick. He was from West Ham. West Ham?
Rooney was from Everton.
No, Carrick.
Oh, Carrick.
He was bought.
Yes.
All these players, Evra, Vidic.
You guys stopped developing players. Ferdinand was bought. He played for like 5 different clubs.
Leeds. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, with the exception of Giggs, Neville, and Beckham, Scholes.
Yeah, the class of '92.
Class '92. That's really it. Welbeck, Cleverley, and Anderson. Well, not even Anderson. Welbeck and Cleverley
gone.
Were really supposed to be that next generation.
Gone.
And it never panned out.
Yeah.
The only reason they were good, I think, was when Ferguson was there. Because he got the most out of them.
Okay, let's talk about your Dutchman, the one that you think will have the biggest impact.
I was watching him during the World Cup. I watched every Netherlands game. And besides Robin and Van Persie, that guy blew me away out of all of them. The way he could just turn, pivot, and find that pass in a split second to get that outward movement going, which is what United desperately need, because all they do, like I said before, they pass from sideline to sideline, not goal line to goal line.
Now, okay, I agree with everything you just said. Now, the Netherlands were playing a 3-5-2. During the World Cup, Blind.
Yeah, Blind.
I like saying blind better, though. The blind leading the blind. All right, so Blind was essentially playing a fourth center back. He was playing defensive midfielder, but
on the left side.
But he was playing essentially more like you want to call it a stopper.
Yeah.
Versus an actual midfield player. Now, if ultimately they're going 4-3-3, how does he fit into this?
I think he's going to be the top part of the triangle between two center backs.
Okay.
I think he'll be that
maintains same spot, and then you're suggesting that there will be
a 4.
It'll be like 2 more attacking minded midfielders ahead of him.
It's like a 4-1-2-3.
4-2-3-1. Like, if you're going to be 2 straight, I don't know what you're going to do. Whatever. But a 4-3-3 would be
a diamond midfield with him.
Triangle, yes.
Yeah, or triangle.
Yeah, a triangle midfield with typically could be, well, it depends on if you're playing it defensively or attack. You have a box-to-box guy that might be attacking or might be defensive. You have a defensive player, and then you have an attacking player. So you have in my case, you have an Ozil, a Ramsey, and a Flamini.
Perfect.
Right. So he's gonna be the defensive player, definitely. Not gonna be shifted because he also can play left back and center back.
Well, like I said, I think
another left back.
I think that's why he was playing that 3-5-2 for this last 2-3 months, because he wants to know what the capabilities, how far he could stretch those defenders, how far those midfielders can go back, and how fast they can get forward. He wants to know what their capabilities, because he's never seen them.
Okay, we're in the Premier League though, still tinkering. I mean, it's tough.
I think he has to. It's the only way for him to evaluate so he can implement the system that he needs.
We'll get into this too, but I think everyone's...
He's not a magician.
I think everyone's also prejudging what 3 weeks or 4 weeks in the Premier League means for the whole. We'll get to that as well, because there's a couple other teams that everyone is just stroking off, and I'm like, yo, chill out. Let's pump the brakes a bit.
It's a long season.
Exactly.
But can I just go out with the old 11?
Go ahead.
This is the old 11. There's a double position. So the back four, we have Fabio Buttner, Ferdinand Vidic, Evra. Then we have Zaha, Giggs, Kagawa, Nani, Hernandez, and Welbeck. And then on the bench, you have Macheta, Powell, Lawrence, Keane, and Cleverley. Those are all out.
They're all out.
All out.
I was like, is Macheta still there?
He's in Cardiff.
Wow.
Full time on a free. It's he really cleaned house.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Moyes could have fired that many people. I think he's got too good of a heart.
You know, he looks like Skeletor, but he's really He-Man on the inside. He's got a soul.
But yeah, I think, Cleverly, I think will do good in Aston Villa. I don't think the pressure is going to be as great. I think he will be appreciated by his fan base. I think he's also has the English thing going for him, which is good. I think he's.
I hope he does well, because he's the butt of every joke.
It really,
he's
really
the butt
got
of
a
every
bad
joke.
rap, and it's kind of disgraceful.
I think
I don't as a Manchester United fan, I don't really like the rap he got. The way that he was treated was pretty poor.
It could be a matter
Never
of
gave him a chance.
It could be a matter of perspective also. But it might not be, because I mean, all right. We'll live in a world where the same group of Manchester United players that existed pre-Van Gaal were at a top level. And I guess Ferguson said that proved that they could have been in the top level. But Cleverly, sometimes in that midfield or around those players, he was the weakest link. So what ends up happening is it becomes let's say you have quote-unquote world-class players around you and you're the worst player. It's exaggerated now. Maybe he's not the worst player. Now you put him in an Aston Villa's midfield. Who knows?
It's all relative.
We'll see. We don't know. We'll see. This will be a true proof of what Cleverly is. I mean, if he can't succeed there, good championship, my friend.
Scottish Premier League.
One final United question. What does this do to Ander Herrera?
Oh, I think he's fine.
He becomes more box to box, because I thought he was trialing him as a defensive midfielder.
I think he's going to be like how Modric...
Or is he backup?
I think he's going to be how Modric is at Madrid. Kind of just in front of the holding midfielder, like kind of in the circle.
Okay.
Dictating. Because he's that, I think... Excuse me. He's that kind of player.
Okay.
He's not a finisher, he's a creator.
Okay. I could see that, but in a if ultimately 4-3-3 is the goal, I don't see how he fits. I think he's backup then. I'm not sure how he fits. Di Maria, Mata, Blind. Your three midfielders. Unless you play Di Maria, this is assuming that Di Maria is going to have the attack, an attacking role. I don't know. Maybe you stick Mata out in the wing and you put Herrera in the midfield. Does Mata do well on the wing?
Mata can't be on the wing.
You have a problem. He still has a dilemma. He's still got some ironing out to do.
He's still young. You don't know. He might be a sub guy.
Well, Van Gaal's not young, but that's what I'm referring to.
Herrera, I mean.
Okay.
But I think his position itself is going to be there. I don't think he's going to be very far advanced in the box. I think he's going to be just behind the box. On the edge. Moving on. To the Gunners.
The Gunners.
They didn't sign enough. They didn't sign enough.
Dave, let's play a game here. Let's play a game. Because this is exactly...
I was being satirical.
No, I know. Let's play a game, though. Let's pretend that Arsenal's window was reversed. Now let's imagine that we signed Danny Welbeck in August, beginning of August. Then we signed Debuchy. Then we signed Ospina. Then we signed Callum Chambers a couple weeks ago. And then on transfer deadline day, we signed Alexis Sanchez. Holy shit! Arsenal had an amazing window. But if you do it in the other order, it looks like shit. People are so out of their minds. In August, I said Arsenal has enough weapons to win the league. And in September, I'm telling you today, still, Arsenal has enough weapons to win the league.
I agree with you. I said it. As long as they stay healthy.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
That's the only thing I can say. They have everything that they need. And Giroud getting injured, I think, was that chink in the armor. And the rumor about Welbeck getting injured, it was never confirmed. But I think it was just one of those things that got popped up in the chip papers.
Yeah, well, who knows? What are your thoughts on Welbeck going to Arsenal?
I think once he gets a chance, and I don't think he's going to be a world-class striker. He's not going to be on the cover of 442 every other week, but I think he's definitely going to bring an attack and an off-the-shoulder attack. He's always on the back shoulder. He's always creating space and running into open space. I think Ozil is going to have a great time with him. He's going to know he knows how to run and where to run. Once he learns how to keep calm and finish, he rushes himself sometimes and he gets the ball caught between his feet. Once he settles down, I think he's going to be very very potent in their attack.
You know, I think I mean, I'm sure you can recall, I've been a heavy critic of Danny Welbeck. I was not thrilled about the signing because I've always been critical of him. I used to say it to you, Danny Welbeck is not good enough to be a Manchester United player. Well, now he's an Arsenal player, you know. Do I think he's good enough? From what I've seen from the finishing issues, if his form maintains how he was at United, I'm not going to be too happy. However, you know, when a player signs for you, you become a little bit more enlightened, and you probably also paint a rosier picture of the guy.
You won't give him a chance.
Right. Well, for one, the one thing that's making me feel good is how badly United fans, supporters, are taking Welbeck going to Arsenal. Like, there's a lot of United supporters that are, like, not happy with this at all.
Well, it's a rival.
It's a rival, but it's also a United lad, came up through the ranks from 8, 9 years old, and was never given the opportunity to play center forward where he wanted to play. And I believe last year he bagged 6 goals in 6 games when Rooney and RVP was out.
He had a good run.
He had a good run, and then when they came back, they shoved him out wide again. Now, that does not mean that Arsene Wenger is not going to shove him out wide also. And
no,
it's going to be the same thing.
In fairness to Moyes, he had to.
No,
because it was RVP and Rooney.
Yeah, but he's been there for several years. It's not... He never broke into the team. Now, the other comparisons I'm hearing from other people out there, that he has the potential to be, not that he plays like Sturridge, because he plays differently, but the same kind of scenario where he feels like he never got a chance at his original club. Now he's going to go to a second club.
Plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Maybe does prove something. The other people, and I would say this is more of the fringe element, are comparing him more to a Diego Costa or a Thierry Henry, in that they didn't really reach their potential until 23, 24 years old. And it wasn't until they found the manager that put them in the right spot. So Diego Costa bounced around for a long time until he got his chance at Atletico Madrid. Not that they don't exactly play the same way. And then Thierry Henry, and I don't think Danny Welbeck has the skills that Thierry Henry had, but Thierry Henry was also, when he came to Arsenal, a jaded guy that had played for a couple of clubs, was misutilized, was not happy, was not finishing, was not a good player. And then Arsene Wenger turned him into the Thierry Henry that we all know. Now, was it that Arsene Wenger put him in a position to succeed, and Thierry Henry was always that good, or was it that Arsene Wenger made him that good? We don't know. I don't think anyone ever really know. So maybe there is a situation here that's bubbling over for Welbeck. A good opportunity. He's better than Sanogo, in the sense that Sanogo is a completely raw player. We see that because he looks like a newborn deer out there. He's got power and he's got speed, but he doesn't have his legs or his arms under control. It's just,
he'll get there.
He'll get there. So he's definitely ahead of him on the pecking order. Giroud's out till the beginning of the year. It's on a plate for him, because I'm pretty sure Wenger would prefer to play Sanchez, Welbeck in the middle, and Podolski or Cazorla. Listen, when Walcott comes back, imagine Ozil, Ramsey in the midfield, and then you have Welbeck, Sanchez, and Walcott to feed.
And Wilshere.
Yeah, but Wilshere probably wouldn't make the field because you need a defensive player. You need a defense. Flamini will make it. I mean, they're trying to say that maybe Wilshere can be the defensive player. We'll see.
Or Wilshere in the middle, Ozil out left. Ozil plays very good on the left.
This is another wedge issue for Arsenal supporters. I know he's played well on the wings for different clubs, but a lot of people believe, kind of like your Di Maria kind of situation, where he's too good to be put outside. He needs to be in the middle. And he looks a little disinterested sometimes playing for Arsenal out wide. I think with Germany, he takes it as I have to. And I think at Arsenal, he looks at it like, fuck. Like, I should be in the middle.
When he's in Germany, it's his duty.
I think so. I think there's a little bit of that. And can you hold it against the guy? I don't know if you can or you can't. But his style of play also is his style of play makes people believe that he's disinterested often, but it's not. It's just the way his movement is subtle. He doesn't like to. He's not a big waving his hands like, give me the ball. He's very much like, I'm going to find space quietly. I'm going to ghost.
He's unbelievable.
And then when I do get, and then all of a sudden you go,
he always pulls defenders away.
And then all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, Ozil opened up a channel, or Ozil is in a perfect spot to send somebody now. I think that a lot of people slate him heavily, and they don't really appreciate what he does off the ball primarily. But neither here nor there, I guess, supposedly. But what I'm getting at is, I'm happy with the transfer window. I'm not over the moon. I would have really loved Arsenal to have signed another defensive player, because I think that is at least one, because I think we're really short in that category. I think a couple of injuries on defense, and Arsenal is up Schitt's Creek.
Did Alex Song sign anywhere?
Not that I'm aware of.
But you can't sign
no, yes he did. West Ham.
Oh.
West Ham. I think it's West Ham. He's in the Premier League. Alex Song is in the Premier League. I think it's West Ham.
Interesting.
But Alex Song is another guy like Fellaini. Everyone thinks he's a defensive player because he's big and strong, but he hates playing defensively. He wants to play the attacking role. And Alex Song had his best season when he was able to move out of the defensive position and move into more of an attacking role, and then he left for Barcelona.
Do you know what I saw in an article sorry to go back to Fellaini. Yep. He said that he considered moving to try to adjust to play a center back position, and they had discussed it in the past. I don't know how I feel about that. He's got like kind of a David Luiz thing. I'm not talking about the fro.
Oh no, he would just
run forward.
He wants to get let loose.
Yeah, but I mean physically, on paper, the way he heads the ball, his jumping abilities, his strength, yeah. But I don't know. I don't think he's disciplined enough. Anyway.
No. Well, I think the whole center back market, I think, is very expensive and very low in supply.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Arsenal had a tough time finding a player. Then people will say, well, why did you sell Vermaelen? I think this is completely conjecture on my part. I think that Arsenal has let enough players leave on a free that they probably have a policy that if they speak to the player and they know the player is not going to re-sign, they do everything in their interest to sell the player and make profit, because I believe the club, unfortunately, management of the club is required to turn profits on player sales. So I think that they sold Vermaelen because he knew he was leaving, because he was not happy with his role. And
get value out of him.
And now, because the center back market is so high, and Barcelona is willing to pay you $15 million for a bench player,
because the transfer window is going to be shut.
That too, but David Luiz went for 50 or whatever he went, 45 or whatever the number is. What I'm saying is, center backs are heavy premium right now,
high commodity,
and they were maybe they shouldn't have let him go. Maybe they shouldn't have let Jenkinson go on loan. But that's the situation. I don't think that they plan on being short on defense.
Live and let die. Sorry, bad choice.
No problem.
Did you see the Spurs and Liverpool game?
Yeah, I saw it. I seen it.
I seen it. That Mourinho goal was magical.
It was very magical.
That was the first one ever, right, for Liverpool?
I think so. It was very nice.
That's nice.
It was a very good goal. The guy had a lot of speed.
Power, strength, blasted through some people.
Pride.
What? I have power. I have a badass mother. Sorry, I watched a lot of Cool Runnings last week.
No, he did. He beat the ball. I forget who he took the ball off of. He took the ball off of somebody, and then he went on a I don't know, 70, 80, 90, 100 yard run. I don't know. It was a big. I think I saw it on NBC. It was like a 100-yard run he went on.
Nice end run. Soft call on Dyer. I don't know about that one.
Unfortunately, yes. Do I think Allen made a meal out of it? Yes. Do I think if you're in the box and you put your hand up on somebody's shoulder and the referee can't really distinguish strength or any, did you clothesline the guy or not?
Yeah.
You're going to get that call. But let me tell you, that penalty the penalty was the second goal. That penalty sealed Spurs' fate. Because Spurs it doesn't, pains me in my fucking balls when I say this. Spurs were attacking well. They had the wind completely taken out of their sails by that penalty call.
And then the Sterling. Oh my God.
The first goal. That was the first goal.
That was the first
That was
one.
the first goal. Sterling.
He's starting to come into his own, making his own.
I think this Liverpool team, and I reserve the right to change my opinion. It's my fucking opinion, so I can change it whenever I want. I think Liverpool. I think there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs going on, and I think depending on how they do in Champions League, they can, meaning if they get knocked out early, I think that they will have a good chance to win the Premier League, or at least fight for the title. They could be there. They're going to be there. I do think that this Liverpool team, though, is very, very similar to last year's Liverpool team. New names, new faces, but I still see the same weaknesses. I'm not sold on their defense. I'm not sold on their defense at all. They replaced Suarez with Balotelli. Maybe it's not like for like, but it's another high-caliber striker. They added Lallana in the midfield for an aging Gerrard, but Lallana hasn't been playing anyway. It's a very long season. Who knows how that's going to work out. They brought in Lovren, but Lovren I've seen a couple of knucklehead moves, too. It's...
The Henderson, Sturridge, Sterling combination is deadly.
Well, I agree, and that's what they had going for them last year, too.
Yeah.
That very dangerous attack. Going forward, Liverpool is... I'm going to be honest. Liverpool going forward might be the best team going forward in the league.
They're exciting. Definitely one of the most... entertainment value, they're in the top 4 for me.
But what lost them the league? Was it that they didn't score enough goals?
No,
I guess that's one way of looking at it. Or did they let in too many?
No, it was Gerrard's studs.
Yeah, I guess. Or letting in 3 goals against Crystal Palace. How about that?
Yeah.
In 10 minutes or whatever it was. What I'm getting at is... And also, Liverpool sputtered quite a bit in the beginning of the season. If you ask people in October if Liverpool was going to be challenging for the title, would you have? Most people would have said, "Nah, maybe not. Top 4." And then come Christmas time, they were right there pushing the whole way.
Yeah.
They
were in the driver's seat.
Towards the end, they were in the driving seat.
Yeah.
Driver's seat. But let's talk about this. Everyone's got Chelsea as winning the league already. 3 matches, and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like people's memory is completely You don't think that there's a chance that they injured Diego Costa gets injured?
Happens.
Their striker, Loic Remy, is okay, an okay striker, but he's not that much better than Torres or Eto'o.
And they're going to be playing in the FA Cup. They have a Champions League competing in. All these other teams. That's what I'm saying. Manchester's advantages. Everybody else is playing in Europe.
What I'm really getting at is that Manchester City spent the least amount of time in first place, but they spent the right amount of time in first place. Because when the music stopped, they were in first. You know what I mean? Arsenal was first for 129 days. Where did they get them? Fourth. So everyone's all hot. They're like
the marathon.
Everyone's
sprint.
stroking off to Chelsea and Liverpool right now. They look so hot. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Okay, let's talk at Christmas.
Flavor of the week.
And I'm not saying this because I believe that Arsenal will definitely be, challenging by Christmas. Shit could take a left turn and be, great balls of fire very quickly for them. But what I'm getting at is maybe Swansea's going to be up there. They're up. If we're going to make these presumptions, Swansea hasn't lost a match either. You know what I'm saying? It's
all relative.
If the league was won in 5 weeks, Aston Villa would have been dominating the Premier League.
True. It's true. Swansea, Villa, and City.
All right. I think
United in 14th.
Listen, Arsenal has started off the league in 17th, 18th, a couple of years in a row, and they've still managed fourth.
And they already have the alphabetical advantage every year.
Every year we start in first, and somehow we managed to fucking lose that. It's all right. We'll figure out a way. But
I'm just glad the transfer window's over.
It's over. You know what we can talk about next week? We didn't touch on it. Pretty much, we mentioned that it exists, but we didn't really talk about it. Champions League draw. Next week, since there's an international break, maybe we'll do a little Champions League. We'll do a little pontificating.
Yeah, I'll try to read up because I don't have much interest.
I'm just picking group winners. I don't care which team from Cyprus is going where.
I'm excited to see Sporting Lisbon. I want to see what they think. I want to see if Nani has some redemption. I want to see Carvalho. I also want to see Ryan Gold, that Scotsman. He's, I think, 18, 19 years old. From what I've seen when he played at Dundee, very, very fun to watch. And you don't really say that about Scottish football. I mean, like, that kind of...
in 1890, you used to say that about Scottish footballers.
He's got, like, that Spanish-Brazilian flair. It's very rare for a very... I'm dead serious. For an albino, literally, like, white Q-tip, white eyebrows, white hair, like, see-through white. It's insane.
That's actually a tactical advantage. He looks like grass, sir.
It's unbelievable.
I keep confusing him for a goalpost.
The amount of money he must spend on sunblock, it's going to be incredible.
All right.
He'll never play a guitar.
On that note, let's close this bitch up.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. I am at Soccer Yank Dave.
And I am at Soccer Yank Dan. Thank you guys for listening. We want to feed your soccer addiction. So the best drugs on the internet, socceryanks.com. Feed your addiction. And if you got friends, introduce them. Give them a little hit here and there. And before you know it, they'll be sucking off the Soccer Yank teat too.
Hey, you want to try some of these Soccer Yanks? And also, if you like to create some of this content, shoot us an email.
Yes. Or if you want to book your kid's next birthday party, socceryanks@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast and our other podcasts at iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, folks. Have a good one.